What's up, everybody? It's the Alex Leak and Friends NFL podcast, back for another week. I'm your host, Alex Leak, and we have a special guest with us on the podcast, former Colorado Buffalo, Pittsburgh Steeler, Seattle Seahawk, and New England Patriot, all-pro linebacker Chad Brown. Thanks so much for coming on the show, Chad.
Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, this is awesome. It's good to talk to you. Good to talk some football. Let's start at the beginning. You attended John Muir High School in Pasadena, California. Is that right?
That is correct.
What were your high school days like there, playing football there in Pasadena? Was that a lot of fun, a lot of competition?
It was fantastic. We were a powerhouse team in the Southern California area. A lot of my teammates went on and had college scholarships. A lot of my teammates went on and played in the NFL as well. John Muir High School in Pasadena is kind of renowned for its athletic programs. And so whether we're talking about Jock Vaughn or Stacey Osmond in the NBA, or heck, going back a long time ago to Jackie Robinson
in
baseball, and then lots of NFL and college football players as well. So for my particular time, Ricky Irvin, who ended up being an Orange Bowl MVP, played in the league with the Washington Redskins. Marcus Robertson played 13 years in the NFL with the Tennessee Titans and the Seattle Seahawks, has been coaching in the NFL the last 12 years. So yeah, I was brought up in a very athletic, competitive environment. And then we were very successful. We had a 32-game winning streak going into my senior year. So lots of success, lots of competition, lots of other amazing, great players to help me push my game to the next level.
That's awesome. That sounds like a real good time there. A good place to develop your talents. Now, were you a multi-sport athlete growing up, or did you always love football the most?
I was always a football guy.
Mm-hmm.
But, it was a time where kids played multiple sports just because, there was no year-round opportunities to play one particular thing. I think kids nowadays get kind of pigeonholed into one sport, and now there's so many opportunities for those kids to play that sport all year round, whether it's club basketball or club soccer or travel baseball or travel hockey teams. I hear about all these things, and I just go, wow, it's unfortunate. But that is the environment nowadays, because I grew up, I swam, I played baseball, I played basketball.
Wow.
My football coach was a track coach, so you had to run track if you played football in my high school. So I got a well-rounded athletic background based on all those different opportunities.
That's very cool. Now, what was your recruiting experience like coming out of high school, and what led to you choosing Colorado University?
Well, anybody who's ever heard Coach Bill McCartney speak would recognize he's pretty persuasive. And that ESPN, the Gospel According to Mac 30 for 30 that came out a couple of years ago, it kind of highlights his ability to sell you. And he came into my house and sold me and my parents on the University of Colorado. But beyond just the Coach McCartney aspect, I was recognizing that they had taken some of the best players in the Southern California area a couple of years before. They got J.J. Flanagan, who ended up being a star at the University of Colorado out of Pomona High School. He was probably the best running back in Southern California 2 years before I graduated. The year before I graduated, they got George Hemingway and Eric Bieniemy. Got those guys out of Southern California, and I thought, wow, here's three of the best running backs in the state of California who are all gone to the University of Colorado. They must have something special going there. And then my senior year, Darian Hagan was recognized as perhaps the best all-around athlete in the Southern California area, and he was committed to Colorado. I thought, man, they must be building something pretty special up there. And my father really wanted me to leave the state of California, get away, grow up a bit. So between his urgings, Coach Mack's salesmanship, the number of talented players the Buffs were signing up, it just really seemed like it was going to be a fantastic fit for me. And in the end, when you think about your college experience, whether you're an athlete or not, you love to get a job in your chosen profession based on your college experience. Well, that's what I did, played in the NFL. You love to, fall in love with the area and really, enjoy your time there. I still spend quite a bit of time here in the state of Colorado. You'd love to meet your spouse. I met my wife at the University of Colorado. We're going on almost 25 years of marriage.
Wow, that's awesome.
So when you think about college experience, it's hard to think about anything better than what I had. Plus, you had on 4 Big 8 titles and a national championship for that. It's really been tough to beat.
Yeah, absolutely. Your time at Colorado, I mean, you had a great job individually as well. You were an All-American and All Big 8 as a senior, overcoming 3 separate injuries. In your 4 years at Colorado, you posted 369 tackles, 38 tackles for loss. Both are 4th all-time at the school at that time. You were teammates with Cordell Stewart at Colorado, correct?
Correct.
And that was pretty cool that he was a quarterback at that school and then got drafted to the Steelers as well as you. So then you guys were teammates both at Colorado and Pittsburgh. Were you guys pretty good friends because of that?
Oh, absolutely. Now, I went to Colorado at a time where there was so many amazing athletes and so many, amazing players. The defensive team that was on the field for the Orange Bowl victory we had over Notre Dame that ended us, winning the national championship. 11 guys on the field, 10 of those guys ended up playing in the NFL.
Wow.
So, more than just Cordell Stewart, my rookie year to the Pittsburgh Steelers, Deion Figures, the Thorpe Award winner from Colorado, he was drafted in the 1st round, and I was drafted in the 2nd round. I get to Pittsburgh, Ariel Solomon, who was an all Big 8 offensive tackle from Colorado, he was there. Joel Steed, the All-American nose guard, who graduated from CU the year before I left CU, he was already there.
Wow.
Then the next year they bring in Charles Johnson, the All-American receiver, and then 2 years later they bring in Cordell Stewart, the All-American quarterback. So, yeah, it was a lot of Colorado Buffaloes in Pittsburgh, but really it was a lot of NFL quality players at the University of Colorado. And for a few years there were more Colorado linebackers on NFL rosters than any other college, even beating, teams that were renowned for all their linebackers in the NFL. The Buffs had that title for a while. So a great time in Colorado, both personally with awards, team-wise, win a national championship, but then seeing myself and all the rest of my teammates have an opportunity to go play in the NFL, that was also great.
Wow, that's awesome. I didn't know Colorado was quite that good at that time. That was crazy, impressive.
Yeah, lots of great players.
Now, you would be selected, like you said, in the 2nd round of the 1993 NFL Draft, pick number 44 by the Pittsburgh Steelers. What was your combine and draft day experience heading into the NFL?
This was before there were really professional combine trainers, so I relied on the experience of the weight staff and strength staff at the University of Colorado, and my agent had just hired a former lacrosse buddy of his to help me train. This was, well behind the science that these kids go through today. Combine was okay. I didn't run the best 40, but I think I showed up prepared. I like to think I interviewed well, and showed people my passion for the game of football and how important it was to me. And then draft day was one of those amazing special days where it's the culmination of years and years and years of work to get to that very moment. And that morning, my mother called me. She has a really good friend in the San Francisco area and said, "Hey, Chad Brown, your son is on the front page of the sports section out here in San Francisco. They're talking about they may take him in the 1st round." Wow. So I was hopeful, wishing that would happen. San Francisco ended up making a different pick for a, gosh, what was the name? I think Todd Kelly, pass rushing defensive end out of Tennessee.
Okay.
But at any rate, the first round is over. You know, I'm starting to get a little antsy, and I think we've all seen those clips of players who expect themselves to go higher, and they get passed by for whatever reason, and they start to get a little antsy. I was at my agent's house, so I kind of go downstairs in the basement to get myself together. By the time I come back upstairs, the second round has started, and the phone started to ring a little bit, and the Washington Redskins call, and they're saying they're going to take me with the next pick. Then my agent answered the phone. He had a couple of phones at the time, and it's the Pittsburgh Steelers. Okay. And he's explained to the Steelers, hey, the Redskins are on the phone. They're going to take Chad. Bill Cowher says, no, we traded up to the Redskins so we could get Chad.
Oh, nice.
So I was drafted with the 44th pick in the draft, which was great because number 44 was my high school number.
Oh.
So it all kind of fit.
That's awesome. That worked out pretty well.
Yes, it did.
Now, you mentioned Bill Cowher. Do you consider, well, first of all, did you know the Steelers' rich football history, the Steel Curtain and all that, and were you excited to join the Pittsburgh defense at that time?
I was. I really, truly was. I knew that they had a great defense. You know, I knew about guys like Rod Woodson and Carnell Lake and Greg Lloyd. I was happy to play and be reunited with my CU teammate Joel Steed, who I talked about earlier. I was very comfortable playing behind Joel as an inside linebacker, and Joel was a nose guard in Colorado, so I knew I'd have a similar type of experience with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So it was a great locker room, it was a great defensive team to go into, and if you think about the talent in the room, the coaching talent, Dick LeBeau, defensive backs coach. Marvin Lewis, longtime head coach with the Cincinnati Bengals, he was my linebacker coach.
Wow. Dom
Capers was defensive coordinator who went on and became a successful head coach around the NFL. So that's just the coaching staff. I mentioned some of the players. So to be, brought in as a young guy with that type of coaching staff, with those amazing players as role models in front of you, that was fantastic. But then you mentioned the history of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Mm-hmm.
As a rookie, the Pittsburgh Steelers do something, and I wonder if other teams do this because it was such a transformative mental experience. There's a hotel not too far away from the stadium. They bring you to this hotel into a big ballroom, and Mr. Rooney stands up, and of course that would now be Mr. Rooney's son standing up, talks about the Steelers and history, and welcomes you to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Talks about the tradition, the Super Bowls, and all that. And they play a little bit of like a 3 or 4 minute highlight reel of the Super Bowls and some of the more recent success. And they end this highlight reel with some of the Steeler great and sections and portions of their Hall of Fame speeches.
Okay.
Then, as this film ends, well, here comes walking into this room to greet you as a rookie and welcome you to the Pittsburgh Steelers are Hall of Fame Steelers. Wow. Here's Franco Harris and Mel Blount. You're just like, oh my gosh. I thought I loved football before, but I really love football now. Yeah. I thought I was excited to play for the Pittsburgh Steelers, but now I can't wait to be part of this amazing tradition. So kudos to the Steelers for bringing the rookies in with a little bit of history and getting them excited about what it means and getting them to understand what it means to be a Pittsburgh Steeler and what a special franchise it is to be a part of.
Yeah, that's very cool. I didn't know the Steelers did that, but that's one way to fire up the young guys coming in.
Absolutely.
In your first 4 years with the Steelers, I mean, you come in and they're having success right away. Your first 4 years, you played in 8 playoff games, 2 AFC championships, and 1 Super Bowl. Incredible way to start your career. And now those 2 AFC championship games were insane, both coming down to the final play. What was it like playing in those incredible AFC championship games?
Well, lucky for me, to mention high school, we won 32 games in a row. So we played championship level football and played playoff games at high school, at John Muir High School in Southern California.
Mm-hmm.
But now at the University of Colorado, we won a national championship. You know, I was there 5 years and played in 5 bowl games, so I kind of knew what the big game experience was like. We played Nebraska. That was always a big televised game. We played Oklahoma, so we played in some iconic stadiums as well. So the experience in the NFL, you know, certainly a notch or two above that, but wasn't overwhelming because of the, you know, previous experiences that I had. You know, you look around the league and maybe some of your high school teammates or some of your college teammates who are not in those same positions, who are not on teams that are playoff teams every year or teams that are Super Bowl contenders every year. So I recognize also how incredibly lucky I was to be a part of the Steelers and to have that success. You know, disappointing to lose that Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Takes about 10 years to get over losing the Super Bowl before you finally said, you know what, it's okay that we went and lost. I'm happy to have played in it, but it took a while to get over that hurt.
Yeah, that's got to be tough, but I mean, it was impressive that you guys were able to get there. Going back to, I mean, what was it like going against, like, you know, in that AFC Championship game, you're going against the Chargers, like Natron Means and Junior Seau on that field. What's it like, for example, trying to tackle a guy like Natron Means? He was a beast.
Natron Means was a real beast. I think a lot of, you know, maybe more recent football fans, you know, lose track of guys like that who maybe weren't Hall of Fame guys, but were certainly Hall of very, very good. Big 240-pound running back, ran with power, ran with agility. He was tough to bring down. That Charger team was very good. I think we would have represented the AFC a little better in the Super Bowl than they did in that blowout loss.
Absolutely.
They had nice. But you know, what I walked away from that game was how amazing of a player that Junior Seau was. I think he separated his shoulder the week before in a playoff game, still played in the game.
Wow.
Ended up with 15 tackles, and I realized, you know, how the play on the field is one part, but truly great players inspire their teammates to play past themselves. So even though he was nicked up, still find a way to get it going, which only, you know, inspires the teammates even more in such a close game. That inspirational effect that Junior was able to provide, I think may have been the difference in that ball game.
Yeah, and then the very next year, you guys find yourself in the same spot playing the Colts in the AFC Championship game. That was I believe, the first year of instant replay. It came down to that Hail Mary pass by Jim Harbaugh. What were your thoughts on that Hail Mary play? And then can you comment on what it was like going up against Jim Harbaugh, the quarterback? I think that he was one of the tougher quarterbacks to play back then.
You know, every team practices the Hail Mary.
Mm-hmm.
Usually on Saturday, get a 1 or 2 drive. Coaches go over and make sure everybody knows their assignments. But it never really happened. And particularly, it never really happens in a game like that, championship game, that kind of moment. So I just wanted to make sure I kept Harbaugh in the pocket, didn't allow him any extra time to get his receiver set up down the field. So both Kevin and Green and I were tasked with keeping him contained. And I was just hoping somebody back there would be able to knock the pass down. And, you know, the ball bounced around a little bit. They certainly had a shot at it, but, you know, they weren't unable to catch it. So
yeah.
I'm very happy about the ending of that. But as far as playing Harbaugh, I hit him really, really hard that game. Probably a hit that would be illegal nowadays. Hit him face to face.
Wow.
Ended up chipping his tooth and bloodying his lips.
Jeez.
And it was pretty funny. A couple of years ago, I was at Disney World with my family, waiting in line at Space Mountain, and here comes the Harbaugh brothers with both their families. So I go up to Jim and I say, "Hey, what's up?" He remembers exactly the hit. He remembered the whole story. So he ends up telling his brother the story as we're waiting in line for our families to ride Space Mountain. So,
that's awesome.
Pretty funny story in the end, but I'm sure his dentist and his wife wasn't very happy about that.
That's crazy. But yeah, incredible toughness to be a quarterback back in that era. I mean, I certainly would not want to take a hit from a guy like you. I mean, You talked about how tough it was to lose that Super Bowl, but you guys were going up against the Cowboys dynasty, the triplets. That was a very tough Dallas team at that time.
It really was. And, with Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, Michael Irvin, let's not forget about guys like Jay Novacek.
Yeah.
They had Larry Allen on the offensive line. They were a very talented squad. Deion Sanders was not only playing defensive back then, he was playing a little bit of receiver. He probably had the longest pass play of the game in the first quarter. I think maybe a 40-yard pass downfield. They were very talented, but I think we were certainly in that game.
Mm-hmm.
We got that onside kick, created some momentum. It seems like we were going to be back in the game because we got the score before the half, got the onside kick, and things were starting to go our way. But unfortunately, our quarterback, Neil O'Donnell, and some receivers were not on the same page. Ended up being 2 interceptions. I think one was Neil's fault, one was a receiver's fault, and that kind of solidified the game for the Cowboys. Larry Brown ended up turning into a star based on Neil O'Donnell throwing the ball twice. He brought those balls back, pretty close to the end zone for the Cowboys. I believe they ended up scoring on both those interceptions because of the short field. So that really was the difference in the ball game. But afterwards, I sat there on the field and I watched the Cowboys celebrate. I watched the confetti cannons go off, and I watched them, hooting and hollering and having a good time. And I vowed someday I'd be back. Unfortunately, that vow did not come true.
Yeah, and that had to be difficult to do. I can't imagine, putting as much as you guys put into the game, and and having it come up just short like that. It would be tough. But after that, the '96 season, you would head to the Seattle Seahawks, and then you're a very durable player. In your first 5 years in Seattle, you had missed just 2 games, starting all those. Not the same team success in Seattle, playing in just 3 playoff games in 8 years, but you had plenty of individual success, recording 4 seasons with over 100 tackles. What was your time in Seattle like?
I was in Seattle for 8 years, and you mentioned those 3 playoff games, and all 3 playoff losses. So certainly disappointing considering the success I had playing football up until that point.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I like to think that my time there was kind of the foundational time to bring the Seahawks essentially where they are now and have been for a long time. The year after I left to go to New England was that first year when they went to the Super Bowl and lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd like to think I was a big part of that foundation, the changing of the culture there, the raising of expectations. But yeah, I didn't get a chance to experience that success personally, but I certainly lived vicariously through my teammates and was very proud of what they were able to accomplish. But yeah, lots of personal success, Pro Bowls and All-Pro teams and all that good stuff, and setting records. But I trade some of those in for more playoff success for sure.
Yeah, and I lived in Seattle for 2 years, and I can tell you from firsthand, you're a very high regarded player there in Seattle. All the fans, despite not having, the greatest success team-wise, you're held up there really high by the fans. So, your success and your hard work didn't go unnoticed, that's for sure.
I'd like to think, I set a high mark for how hard I played and how much passion I brought to the field. Those Seattle fans were, some of the best because even though we weren't always the most successful team during that era, they were always passionate about the players, about the team, and I will always remember those folks.
That's awesome. That's very cool. And then you would go to the Patriots in 2005 as a replacement for injured linebacker Teddy Bruschi. In 2006, you'd be back with the Steelers. And then in 2007, you'd be back and forth with the Patriots. Now, you were on the 2007 Patriots multiple times as they were going undefeated that year. It would have been nice if they had kept you on the roster there to go into the playoffs. I feel like, do you feel like you could have been the missing link to that undefeated season if they had kept you on?
Probably more so, actually, in 2006, that year I ended up playing with the Steelers. I went to camp with the Patriots in 2006.
Okay.
I broke my hand the very first day of pads, ended up being released just because I wasn't healthy, wasn't going to be able to contribute on opening day. They were going to bring me back. By the time my hand healed, I called Bill Belichick and said, hey, the hand's ready, doctor cleared me, wait till you bring me back. And he says, we'll bring you back next week. We had a couple of injuries at defensive back. We got to bring some more guys in. Well, that next week, Bill Cowher from the Steelers called me and says, Joey Porter, pulled a hamstring. Clark Hagan's the other outside linebacker pulled a hamstring. Are you in shape and can you play? Heck yeah, coach. I can play. I'm ready. I'm in shape. I've been working out here in New England. I'm ready to go. So I go to Pittsburgh, end up getting a sack that first game when I start. Joey Porter gets healthy. Clark Hagan gets healthy. They move back into their starting spots. End up, being a backup linebacker and special teams guy there. But going back to New England, that was the year they lost to the Colts in the playoffs.
Okay.
And my job in 2005 was I became essentially a third down linebacker, covering tight ends and covering running backs out of the backfield. So the success that Peyton Manning had against that New England Patriots defense was against one particular linebacker who was struggling in coverage, and that would have been my role. I think I would have helped them win that particular game.
Absolutely.
That year, maybe help them get to the Super Bowl. By the time 2007 came around, that Patriots team was so amazingly talented. Clearly, it was the almost perfect season except for that Super Bowl loss.
Yeah.
So, I took a much lesser role and was happy to be on and off the roster a number of times during the season because I recognized how truly great that team was. I wanted to be a part of an experience like that.
Absolutely.
And not just, starting for some team that's going to be, 5 and 11.
Yeah.
I'd rather, a situational player in a team that, trying to set an NFL mark with the, longest winning streak kind of thing. So that's why I chose that route. To your point, I like to think that I would have been able to help in the playoffs, maybe even that game against the Giants, but, we're just guessing right now what could have happened.
Yeah, that's true, but hell of a career. 15 seasons in the what I like to call the not-for-long league. You were very consistent. You stayed on the field and playing hard, and everywhere you were. Over 1,000 tackles for your career, 1,088, 79 sacks, 58 tackles for loss, 15 fumble recoveries, and 6 picks. And you were also inducted into the 2017 Colorado Athletics Hall of Fame class. Hell of a playing football career.
I had a great ride. I had an amazingly great ride. And it's one of the things when you look back, you can't help but reflect upon all the help that it took you to get there. If I go to a different high school across town, I don't get a chance to play with those teammates who help me raise my level of my game. I don't get a chance to play for Jim Brownfield, one of the even the California Coaches Hall of Fame. The amazing players and coaches I had at the University of Colorado, the great teammates and coaches I had in the NFL. The fact that I got married to a wonderful woman who made a nice soft home for me and cooked good food for me and helped me rehab my injuries and all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
All those little people along the way who help you out, when you have such a great ride like I did, it's certainly not time to stick your chest out and say, look at me. Kind of deflect that praise back to everyone else and say, look at what everyone else helped me achieve, and thank you very much for all that help.
That's awesome. And yeah, hell of a career, like I said. What are you up to these days? Are you NFL analyst and stuff, or what are you up to nowadays?
Like a lot of players, I do talk into microphones and into cameras on television and radio talking about football. I do a lot of stuff here locally here in Denver, lots of radio and television, usually talking about the Broncos. I've been part of the Colorado Buffaloes broadcast for years and years.
Nice.
These last couple of years, I moved over to Compass Media and Westwood One. So I do a lot of college football for them. I've also done some NFL football for them, nationally broadcast radio games. Compass Media does a lot of big college football. This last year I did Clemson, Texas A&M, Texas A&M, Alabama, some games like that. And then I've also done a lot of television with ESPN and the Pac-12 network as well.
Nice. That's awesome. Staying busy. So you keep keeping up with football these days. Do you have any take on the new replay rule changes based on, changing them after last year's playoff debacle there in the NFC Championship game?
I do. I still think there's more changes to come on that. I've always been a fan of Bill Belichick's proposal of make every single play reviewable. You obviously want to limit the amount of reviews that coaches get, but there's just no reason to say this call is reviewable, that call isn't reviewable. Let's make every single play call reviewable. Even if a flag is not thrown, if there's a punch thrown, and the referees miss it, the coaches see it from the sideline and they want to throw a flag at that particular moment, let them throw that flag and challenge that. So I'd like to see every coach get 2 challenge flags or 2 review flags per half.
Okay.
And however they use them, they can use them. So that would have cleared up that New Orleans Saints playoff debacle right there. Sean Payton throws that flag. Everyone at home, everyone watching television, everyone in the stadium knew what the call should have been. That would have been instantly corrected, and we would not be having this kind of discussion about it. Absolutely.
I like that take. And then finally, this week there's been a lot of talk of player drama. You got the Antonio Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster beef. There's Aaron Rodgers, Greg Jennings, Jermichael Finley beef. In your career, did you have any beefs or rivalries in your day?
With the social media now that players have an opportunity to sit on their couch at home, create controversy. That really wasn't available.
Yeah.
Back in my day, and in some ways, I'm actually thankful for that. I was a part of, not the Steelers aren't a successful team and franchise, but I was a part of some pretty good locker rooms. You don't have the success that the Patriots have without being a pretty good locker room. You don't have that success that we had in Pittsburgh when I was there years ago without having a pretty good locker room. So, this kind of stuff I think is more, at this point, social media / overall media driven. Back in my day, I could keep it in the locker room and try to squash it there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's different nowadays. Like, everything that happens gets put on social media. There's no, talking it, keeping it in-house. There's no man-to-man talking one-on-one. It just seems to all go straight to social media. It's crazy. But,
I think the thinking that, there's no bad publicity kind of thing is what, really gets some guys like Antonio Brown going, because he's happy if people are talking about him, even if they're not saying good things about him. Which I will say some nice things about him. It makes me feel good.
That's true. Well, I appreciate your time, Chad. Once again, Chad Brown, All-Pro, great linebacker for many years in the NFL. Thanks so much for taking some time to be on my show. I greatly appreciate it.
Happy to be on with you, and nice job, man. Good questions.
Thank you, and have a good one, and thanks so much for your time. I'll talk to you later, Chad.
All right, take it easy. Bye-bye.
Yep, see ya. And that'll do it for this week's episode. I hope you guys liked it. Chad Brown is a hell of a linebacker in the NFL, one of my favorite players, so hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, or leave a comment. We'll be back next week. We should have some more interviews coming up, so thanks for the support, and have a great week, guys. Peace out.